Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Issues on Voice of the People TV, where we bring you the most important and present issues shaping our nation today. I am your host, Jerry Apelihoi. And tonight, we'll be diving deep into major developments in the Nigerian polity. Stay with us as we analyze these critical issues with our expert panel. And this is a conversation you won't want to miss. We begin the show today where former Jigawa State Governor Sulle Lamido has accused President Bola Tinubu of supporting the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election rather than being an early pro-democracy activist. Lamido claimed Tinubu backed General Babangida at the time and only joined the pro-democracy movement after General Abacha took power. He dismissed Tinubu's democratic credentials as exaggerated and vowed to join efforts to unseat him in the 2027 election. Away from that, where IPOB has accused the Nigerian government of prosecuting its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, using repealed laws and without credible evidence. The group also condemned his alleged illegal rendition from Kenya and compared his case to that of a northern Nigerian Diko, who was freed under similar circumstances. IPOB insists the charges are baseless and questions the judiciary's consistency in upholding justice. And furthermore, Akim Baba has dismissed claims that the opposition coalition against President Tinubu is a northern agenda, emphasizing that leaders from the south are also involved. They recall that Tinubu himself once helped form a successful coalition in 2013. Baba Ahmed urged current coalition leaders like Atiku and El-Rufai to step back and support a generational shift, arguing that Nigerians want new leaders who represent real change, not recycled politicians. All right, after this short break, we'll dig deeper into these topics and more. Don't go away.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
Welcome back. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. We started off with former Jigawa State Governor Sulle Lamido has claimed that President Bola Tinubu was not part of the initial June 12 pro-democracy movement, but rather supported the annulment of the 1993 presidential election. Speaking on TV, Lamido alleged that Tinubu, then a senator under the Social Democratic Party, backed General Babangida's annulment and only gained prominence after General Sani Abacha took over. Lamido further claimed that Tinubu's mother, Alhaji Mogaji, organized Lagos market women to show support for Babangida in Abuja. He criticized Tinubu's later portrayal of himself as a democracy hero, saying it was misleading and dramatized. According to Lamido, many NADECO members, including Tinubu, only became visible in the struggle after Abacha seized power, unlike others who remained in Nigeria to resist the military regime. Concluding his remarks, Lamido accused Tinubu of fleeing the country during the military crackdown and vowed to align with others to unseat the president in the 2027 elections. He questioned the credibility of Tinubu's pro-democracy legacy and suggested that history is being distorted for political gain. We'll take a listen from the man himself.
I was the secretary of the party. And with all respect to him, you see, he was part of those people who were supporting Babangida's annulment of June 12th. He was part of it. His own mother, Haja Mogaji from Lagos, was organizing Lagos market women to come to Abuja to pledge, support for Babangida. I'm saying this because it's simply history. I mean no harm. I mean don't mean to embarrass him. But then you see, he was actively handing gloves to Babangida. Now, when Babangida saw the fact that he was having a problem with the party, he went to the National Assembly to address them. One infamous speech was, they are trying to incite you. It is you they are against. Tinubu was there, and the IU became very, very firm and straight on the issue of June 12th. He called a meeting, then being the only senior elected person in government at that time, as Senate President, he convened a meeting in Edo, in Benin, working there with the governor, where we went there and reaffirmed our commitment to June 12th. All right? Babangida was so angry with IU. He only came, but he removed him and put in a better arrow. He put him there so that, so that they can be aligned to Babangida, political kind of machinations. So when Tinubu today, after being a Nigerian president, decided to rewrite history, trying to maybe deconstruct history and then rewrite it, then it is very, very amusing because he was part of the Babangida support of June 12th. He was part of it. Now, it was only when Abacha took over government that Tinubu then became a so-called activist of June 12th. Not only him, all those who are talking about June 12th in Nedeko, I mean no harm, I mean no disrespect. I'm simply saying what happened during that time. All of them, those who were in Nedeko, where were they on June 11th? They had no part in June 12th. They are not part of June 12th campaign. They are not part of the June 12th activities. Whatever they are never, because most of them are saying they should down look. All of them. Because they know believe they won't work out. So when Abiola won the election, and then after the annulment, they are all very, very passive. But suddenly after Abacha came on board, removing Sonekam, they became activists. They formed Nedeko. Nedeko was opposed to Abacha, was opposed to election formation. Nedeko was something which was formed, to fight Abacha, not to fight democracy, not to fight for June 12th. So whatever Tinubu is doing today is simply reconstructing history the way he thinks is going to fit his own political interests. But then obviously he was a major supporter of Babangida. Ask Babangida, ask him. So when you talk about, already June 12th, what are those characters? Ebute Ere, somebody who replaced Ayu for June 12th? Who are the others? All of them. So he ran away. We stayed behind. We fought Abacha. I was detained, because of my fight, but I was detained. Really was detained. So all of us, Adamu Churuma, Bola Ege, Yoche Ayu, Kwame, and many others, was the secretary of the party. And with all respect to him, you see, he was part of those people who were supporting Babangida's annulment of June 12th. He was part of it. His own mother, Haja Mogaji from Lagos, was organizing Lagos market women to come to Abuja to pledge, support for.
All right, and of course you heard from the horse's mouth talking about the former governor of Jigawa, talking about Sulle Lamido. And of course today I'm delighted to be joined by an esteemed guest here in the studio. We have Dr. Peter Anosike. Dr. Anosike is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Good evening. Great to have you join us on the issues.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Taking a look at what Sulle Lamido has just said about Tinubu's fight for democracy, because it has been one of the trump cards he has been using as one of his campaign, would I say manifesto or gimmicks to tell Nigerians that he was part of the fight for democracy. But with what Governor Lamido has just revealed, does that change that dynamic in terms of saying Tinubu was a pro-democrat?
Well, history is written by the victors and not the victims.
Yes.
So what he said is subjected to empiricism. Understand? The issue is he mentioned names.
Yes.
And so we have that to check. He said that Tinubu's mother was organizing market women to Abuja to understand me. So did this happen? Understand me? So there are people who were alive then who can testify whether this is true or it's not true. And he said, ask Babangida. Babangida is still there. Understand me? And if he's not sure of what he's saying, I don't think if he will be mentioning people's names and saying, go and ask them. So I know that since 2015, history is being written. History is being abused. Understand me? So this should, as he said, some of the people that are now claiming to be heroes of June 12, we are not even active in the days of the struggle.
Okay, that they were even hands and in
Understand
bed with the man who actually annulled the election.
So they were not a part of the struggle. Understand me? So what he said is true. I understand. The question should be, why now? Why did he say it many years ago? Understand me? So I heard that Tinubu asked Abacha to be appointed the administrator of this state. Understand me? That Tinubu asked Abacha to appoint him the sole administrator of the state. It is when Abacha said no that he now begin to fight Abacha. Understand me? So these things are there, but Tinubu is today, he's a victor. So those bad signs that have been taken as a this thing. Understand me? No. So for me, what he's saying, he is there, and he said that he's not saying this to harm anybody, but that he just want to set the record straight. Understand?
Okay, because now a lot of people are now saying that if Lamido is right, that we can now, a lot of people can now assume and say, not even an assumption, accuse the president of fabricating his legacy. Do you believe there's a merit to that claim? Because a lot of questions are being asked about the background of the president. And with Lamido coming now to puncture his, talking about his pro-democracy days, is there adding merits to that position?
What I heard was that Tinubu escaped from this country when Abacha sent people to arrest him. That they were in a meeting when the soldiers came and he jumped in that defense, understand me? And from there ran to the airport and disappeared. Understand me? So, which he is part of the post-June 12 struggle. Understand me? Because
was it for selfish reasons or for the interest of democracy at the time?
You know, that's when you ask for something and you didn't get what you want, you can turn the opposition.
Okay.
Understand me? So
just to get what was that the same thing he also did in 2015, forming the coalition against Jonathan's government because of what he was actually looking for being president at the time too.
So he knew that it wasn't the right time for him in 2025.
2015.
2015.
Okay.
So he has to position somebody there that now waited for 8 years to strike.
Okay. What does that say about the president from the onset? All the things about his fight for democracy were just for personal ambition.
They called him a master strategist. So
it was a strategy from the get-go.
It was a strategy that he's today or the president of the country and achieving what Abafemi Awolowo, the most respected Yoruba man, couldn't achieve.
Okay, how do you reconcile Tinubu's alleged support for Babangida with his late role in Nadeko, later becoming one of the face of Nadeko? If Lamido is correct that Tinubu supported Babangida and only became vocal after Abacha took power, what does this say about the authenticity of his pro-democracy credentials?
Well, Tinubu was never the face of Nadeko.
Okay, part of Nadeko.
He was part of it. And what I heard was that when he ran to Britain, he was sourcing for fund and sending to the country, that's to those on the street.
Okay.
If you want to talk about face of Nadeko, or the Sabakoba was there, Gandhi Fafawebi was there, this Nnamdi Kanu, that's and others. Understand me? So he wasn't face of Nadeko, but he was part of the post-June 12 struggle.
In terms of financing the struggle?
Sure.
All right, can Tinubu's silence or absence during the initial June 12 uprising be justified, or does it undermine his democratic legacy?
Well, some people fight physically, some people go out there to source for fun. All of them are in the struggle. Understand me?
Well, Lamido said that was an act of cowardice.
So with some people give financially, some give moral support, others pray. So everybody is doing something. But for Tinubu, we've had a lot of distortion of history. Understand me? It will be impossible that to write a holistic book on him
without finding issues or faults in the records.
When he said that the school that he graduated from in 1970 started in 1974. Understand me? So what does that tells you?
Okay, taking a look at, even the presidency has come out with their own position, citing that actually there are a lot of loopholes, that it's all bent on Lamido being the fact that he is on the part of the coalition and is trying to malign the president's image ahead of the 2027 election, that there's no truth about all he said. But let's not forget, Lamido was actually the secretary of the Social Democratic Party. So if he's saying something about what happened during the June 12th and after, he should be taken seriously.
He was secretary of SDP,
yes, which
Abiola ran.
Yes.
Understand me? So, and you know, the secretary is the engine room of the party. He's in charge of administration, all files. So secretary can know even more than the presidential candidates, because he is the engine room. So now say that he's trying to distort history. And when you watch him, you know that this is somebody who knows what he is talking about. He mentioned them and say, where we are there before June 12th. Understand me? Because June 12th was election day. So all these people that we are now heroes of democracy, where we are there before June. Understand me? So it means that they were somewhere else. They were somewhere else. And mind you, Hamza Mustafa and Isha Babeyi, that's the former chief of army staff under Abacha, said that a lot of Yoruba men betrayed Abiola. That's what Hamza Mustafa said. That's why Isha Babeyi, the chief of army staff under Abacha, said. So, but these people, they will talk without giving the people understand. No, the names of the people.
Okay. On the part of Tinubu's mother, actually gathering market women to support the June 12th annulment, the presidency has also released a statement saying that there was no truth to that story, that if she even made a move of such, that she would have lost her position as the head of the market women in Lagos. And they also made the position that Lamido and Anene were the ones who actually handed over everything to the national conference before Abacha took over, that they were the one who sold Nigeria out, and it was not the way he has been saying it.
Well, we know those in the presidency who want to defend that or the president, and everybody know who the former Jigawa state governor is. He was among those that was in detention. He was among those that was in detention. So saying that he sold out is not true. Saying that he sold out is not true. He's a committed fighter. He has posed the question. Those people that are now posing as Nelson Mandela of our democracy, before June 12th, where we are there. Where we are there. So some people fight while others are now taking the credit. And that's the truth.
All right, is Lamido's statement a genuine historical correction or simply a 2027 power move?
For me, I don't think it's a early 2027 power move. I don't think. For me, he was part of the struggle. He was with Abiola, being the secretary of SDP. So he has a lot of information. And he knows those that were with Abiola and those who were not with Abiola and secretary of the party.
Okay, now, 2023 is in, and 27 is now looking like it's going to be a very long time coming. And of course, more things we are going to see unfold. He made mention of the fact that he will support any move to unseat Tinubu as president in 2027. What do you think about all of this? And in addition to what he has said about his pro-democracy days.
Well, I say he was secretary of SDP, so he went everywhere with MKO, that's Abiola, understand me? And so he's one of those that has remained in PDP since its formation. And for me, and people see him as a credible person.
Okay.
So saying that he will support any opposition against Tinubu, that's his own personal opinion, understand me? And he has to work and ensure that his opinion becomes becomes a fact.
Okay, let's go back to the indigenous people of Biafra. IPOB has accused the Nigerian government of persecuting its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, using repealed and outdated laws. In a statement from IPOB's Directorate of Legal Affairs, Counsel Onyekachi Ifedi argued that the charges against the Kanu based on the Terrorism Act 2013 and allegations dating back to 2015 are no longer legally valid, especially as the law was repealed in 2022. He said the government has failed to present credible evidence linking Kanu to terrorism and violence. IPOB also refuted claims connecting Kanu or the group to the NSAS protest, citing findings from the Lagos Judicial Panel that blamed Nigerian security forces, not IPOB, for the violence. The group further claimed Kanu was illegally abducted from Kenya and returned to Nigeria without a formal extradition process, a move they say violates Nigerian law, the African Charter, and international legal norms. And drawing comparisons to a past Supreme Court case involving a northern Nigerian, Diko, who was freed on grounds of unlawful rendition, IPOB questioned the judiciary's impartiality. The group asked why Kanu's rights are being treated differently, suggesting a double standard based on regional or ethnic origins. Do you agree with IPOB's position on the way the government has handled Nnamdi Kanu's case, in particular relating to what happened to Diko, who is from northern Nigeria?
Well, Diko issue was that Diko, Omanu Diko was the Minister of Transport under Shehu Shagari, and when ODQ happened, that was 31st of December 1983. Diko was abroad, was in UK. And then we are seeing him as one of the most corrupt government officials then. So Buhari sent some people to go and kidnap him in UK and bring him back to the country. So due process was not followed, understand me, but they couldn't succeed. He was found inside a crate in Heathrow Airport. So they did not succeed. But at the end of the day, Diko has that to go back to court to challenge what was to happen to him.
Not that they succeeded.
No. They didn't succeed. So Diko went to court to challenge what would have happened to him, and he got justice. It is not that the government has any other charges against him.
Okay.
Understand me? So if Diko was freed for illegal attempt to illegally abduct him and bring him into this country, then the same thing is also with Kanu's issue. So the difference here is that Kanu has a case against the federal government. But if they are charging Kanu with outdated issues, they should have gone back to court and say these cases that you are bringing up or these sections of the Constitution is no more that's valid. Understand? So I don't know why they did not do it.
Is it that the government does not really understand all of this? Because does it look like Nnamdi Kanu is actually, with the way the evidences are piling up and things are going, is it more or less like he's politically arrested? It's a political move, not just because Nnamdi Kanu is really a person of interest.
Excuse me, which evidences are piling up?
No, with the way the case have been piling up, the way the things have been drawn.
Federal government has closed their case. Which cases are piling up?
I'm talking about the way things have been going.
Well,
the way the evidences have been going left, right, and center.
DSS did what is called going fishing for evidence. Understand me? DSS did not come out with concrete evidence that will convict him. Understand me? They just made a spurious allegation that cannot stand the cross-examination. But where I have a problem with Kanu's team is, why didn't they file for cross-examination instead of filing for no case submission? This I said it before, and I'm still saying that's where I am disturbed. They should have filed for cross-examination. The DSS has finished their own allegation without cross-examine what they said. This is where they would have begun to puncture holes on their allegations. But they say no, that they are filing for no case submission, which I'm not happy with. Then on the issue of being persecuted, that is correct. Kanu is being persecuted, not prosecuted.
There've been a lot of situations where the Nigerian judiciary, for instance, and even the government have continued on the path of multiple constitutional breaches and disregard for court orders in recent years. Are we now saying that impunity is becoming institutionalized?
Well, that is true, starting from 2015. From 2015, we entered the era of impunity. No more due process, no more protocol, which is very, very bad. So today, individuals are becoming stronger than institutions. Individuals are becoming stronger than institutions. Institutions are being compromised, which is not what a democratic country should be experiencing.
Okay, taking a look at the situation, can Nigeria truly move forward from ethnic and regional bias? Because it looks like, are we heading towards a dangerous tipping point of national disintegration? Because when some region notice that they are being persecuted, not because they deserve to be persecuted, because now it looks like people are being picked based on their ethnic bias and so on and so forth. Not because the rule of law needs to stand. Is this creating a bigger divide that we might be looking back in the future and saying these are the things we did wrong, and this is where
the other issue. If something is happening and if it's affecting that's our own ethnic region negatively, we'll complain. If not, we'll keep quiet. So no country can develop this way. Imagine what has been happening in Benue State. Arewa Consultative Forum had not condemned it. Northern Elders Forum had not condemned it. But what they condemned was the killing of a wedding guest in Plateau State because they came from Kanu State. So there's no way a country will develop this way.
Okay, taking a look at this broadly, is the persistent crackdown on secessionist voices like IPOBs and wild bandits and terrorists in the north are granted repentant status. Is this not a blatant display of a two-faced national security policy?
Self-determination is recognized by the Nigeria Constitution. Self-determination is recognized by the Nigeria Constitution. It is recognized by the UN Charter. It is recognized by the AU Charter. So self-determination is not a criminal offense. But when people begin to turn anything that you are not comfortable with into act of terror, you are setting a very bad precedent because the evil that you condone today might affect you tomorrow. The evil that you condone today might affect you tomorrow. So some people have been using this insecurity as a weapon for election. It was used against Jonathan in 2015. Today, it has become those bandits are now part of the system. Understand me? Because they feel that when they make Jonathan's government look bad, he would lose the election. But when you give people guns, because taking it away becomes
difficult.
Sure, and that's what is happening as we speak.
Okay, let's now go over to the next conversation because this one is particularly interesting. As talking about Akim Baba, a former political advisor to President Bola Tinubu, has dismissed claims that northern politicians are solely behind the recent opposition coalition against the current administration. And speaking on TV, emphasized that political coalitions are not exclusive to the north and pointed out that prominent southerners, including former governors Rotimi Amechi and Rauf Aregbesola, are actively involved. He also recalled that President Tinubu, a southerner, was instrumental in the formation of the 2013 APC coalition that ousted Goodluck Jonathan's government, reinforcing that alliances have always included both northern and southern leaders. Baba Ahmed stressed that such efforts are not new and are part of Nigeria's political tradition. However, he criticized the current coalition's leadership, saying figures like Atiku Abubakar and Nasser El-Rufai should not be front-facing in the movement. Instead, he called for a generational and political shift with new leaders who genuinely offer hope and a fresh vision for Nigeria rather than simply aiming to replace Tinubu with more of the same. Okay, taking a look at Baba Ahmed, we all know he's an active force in the northern region of Nigeria. And now he's saying that this coalition is not really what people are saying, that it has a coloration of the northern politicians who are against Tinubu. Do you agree or disagree with this?
Well, if you were at the press conference or you watched it at the press conference where ADA was happened, you see it was a mixture of the north and the south. Aribosona was there. Osita Chidoka from the east was there. Rotemi Amechi was also there. So in 1978, okay, so 1979 or so, we had the NPP MPN accord. Understand me? NPP stands for Nigeria People's Party, which was headed by Dr. Nnamdi Kanu at that point in time, and then Shehu Shagari that headed the MPN. So after the election, MPN couldn't form the government because they didn't get enough votes. So MPP had to form an alliance with them. They call it MPN Accord. So this is North and South. So the 2015 Accord was between the AC from the Southwest, faction of ABGA, that's led by Rocha Sokrocha from the Southeast. Understand me? Yeah. Then AMPP and CPC. So if there's for an accord to be, it must reflect the whole country.
Yes.
If not, it's not a coalition. It's not an alliance.
Baba Ahmed criticizes Atiku and El-Rufai as unfit to lead change. But isn't that an indirect admission that the current political elite, north or south, has failed Nigeria?
Well, for me, I'm not part of that argument because Nigerians usually vote for people they know. Voters vote for who they know. Bring a new person that they don't know in 2027, that person will fail. And again, you need a politician who has structures, people across the 36 states. And again, the money that you run for presidential election is not what every Tom, Dick, and Harry can afford. So, saying that Atiku Abubakar, that's El-Rufai, and others, if you push them out of the equation, there will be no strong opposition.
So that means we are not ready for a new generation, for a generational shift. And because this talk about a new generation of leaders, is it just a mere rhetoric as far as Nigerian politics is concerned?
It's a rhetoric. Donald Trump is 79. Understand me? Donald Trump is 79. He took over from somebody who was 82. So for me, to run for a presidential election, you need more than a bank. And it's not what a 30-year or a 40-year-old guy can do. So it's not easy. We can say if these people, after these people, then we begin to groom younger people. But for now, I don't see it as being possible.
So you're saying the system is being wired in a way that it's going to block any genuine fresh voices from rising.
You cannot get anybody under 60 as a president in this country till after 2031. It's not possible. Anybody under the age of 60 to rule this country till the end of 2031, because I know what it takes that to run an election.
How different is this proposed coalition from the APC alliance in 2013, which promised change but is now criticized for perpetuating the same government failures, even doing worse?
Well, a coalition is a coalition. It's just bringing people from different political parties into an umbrella. Most of the people involved in this were also involved in 2015.
Okay.
El-Rufai was involved, Atiku was involved, Amechi was involved. Understand me? But it's because they feel that things are not going on the way they want it. They now want a change. So it is the same people as Ahmed said. But for me, I'm in support of the coalition because Nigeria is not going in the right direction.
What happened in 2019? Why did we not have the same coalition in 2019? Because let's not forget, when the Southerners is in government, all of a sudden, the so-called political elites, who are mostly controlled from the North, now know that there needs to be change. The same thing they did to Jonathan, don't you think it's the same thing they are trying to do to Bola Ahmed Tinubu now?
So have you become a sympathizer of
I don't need to be a
Tinubu?
sympathizer. We are reading between the lines. Because even when President Bola Ahmed Muhammadu Buhari was president, we saw the colossal failure from the get-go, as at 2015, 2016, till up to the 2019 election. Well, how come there was no coalition then to say, oh, this man has failed, let's start a coalition to remove him so that he will not continue and take us to the situation we were as at 2020, before the 2023 election.
But bag of rice was not costing 100,000 naira in 2019.
It was heading to a situation where there was no governance. Let's not forget, it took more than 6 months for him to make ministers, to elect ministers. He was partially sick for most of the time for the first 4 years. But why there was no coalition to change governance? But now, when the Southerners is in power, we now know there's a coalition to be formed. We now know there's now time for us to make change and so on and so forth. Why always a Southerner?
Jerry, are you happy with the way the country is going?
We don't need to be happy, but I'm just reading between the lines. Let's just read between the lines.
So if you can make a change, wouldn't you? If you have power to make a change now, would you wait till 2027?
Why was there no power to make a change in 2019? That is the question I'm asking.
One, Tinubu, Buhari has a lot of things going his way. The North, by hook or crook, has the numbers.
Okay.
And politics is about it. Understand me? So, and again, you have said that he was sick most of the time.
Okay.
Which means he has an argument. If I wasn't sick, I would have done so things.
Was it not honorable for him to have resigned and allow somebody who was fit to continue?
So he had a lot of things going his way, and things wasn't. I was writing something about 2-3 hours ago. I realized that in 2021 the exchange rate was 433.
Within that range?
Understand? 433 in 2021, which means in 2019 it could be that's around 300. So things was not as bad as then as it is.
At least he made the dollar at 150. I mean, that means it was double as at then. And this one who came to replace him now doubled it too. So it was more like a doubling affair under the APC government.
Okay, but the doubling now is excess. The doubling now is excess. Nigeria is not going in the right direction. We need a change.
All right. When is the turn of a Southerner?
We need a change.
So do you think that the game of the numbers does not really favor when the president from the South comes up? But when the Northerners become the president?
The North says you that it is them that decides who rules the country. That's why I say by hook or crook, they feel that they have the numbers. But the studies have shown me that it is not true.
All right. I would like you to tell us what are those studies, but time will not permit us to go on and on about that. I want to say a big thank you, Dr. Anosike, for being awesome on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and that's a wrap for tonight's episode of the Issues on Voice of the People TV, and I hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you stay engaged and informed. Remember, your voice matters. Stay involved and keep the conversation going. I am Jerry Apeliohai, and this has been the Issues on Voice of the People TV. Good night, Nigeria.